What up, though? It's your boy, Mr. Oh Yeah. Just come to remind you about Wednesday Night Live from All Industry Connect at Floods Bar and Grill each and every Wednesday. If you ain't been there, you should get there. And April 5th, we starting off a new karaoke session with the Karaoke Kings. Make sure you come check us out each and every Wednesday at Floods Bar and Grill with your boy, Mr. Oh Yeah, and Liquor God Dwayne, and of course, DJ Cuts. Gonna be cutting it up. Holla at your boy.
Damn, Q. Baby, you did that.
Welcome to the Oh Yeah podcast with your boy, Mr. Oh Yeah, Detroit's #1 ambassador. Appreciate you joining us for another episode of Real Stories from Real People. It's your boy, Mr. Oh Yeah, Detroit's #1 ambassador, coming to you with another episode of the Oh Yeah podcast, celebrating Detroit 313 Day. And here we coming live from the Cut It Out International Barbershop and Salon with your boy, Al Wilson. Make sure y'all come check him out. And if he ain't cutting your hair, make sure you go down the way in the complex to get you something from Crack and Sizzle, baby. That hibachi rice is what it is. You feel me? And don't you forget, we are really here to celebrate three giants and what I would consider this episode to be heroes of the industry. My man, LaRonn Harris of Atlantic Records, my boy, OG Lamonte Hayes of BWP Marketing, and my boy, Drew Rives of Def Jam Music Group. Man, I'm glad y'all brothers are here. I appreciate y'all took a little time out in this snowstorm to come kick it with us for a minute.
I want to make sure I got my pen is working right because my little plastic came off. So I want to make it be good. We good? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So let me do this now, and I want LaRonn to back me up with this. Because I think what you said is important. And I think Detroit is a very unique place because we understand that although we may work for this particular employer, that's what it is. It's an employer. You go hard for your employer, you do all those kind of things, but there's much more commonality amongst us, especially amongst us as black men.
Come on now.
You know what I mean? So it's like, even though it's a Def Jam record, and I was always glad to see this kind of thing. If there was ever a scenario where they were like, well, some people would hate on other people in their records. You would never hear about me or Drew or LaRonn saying, don't put that new, what's it, Corey LaRonn? Is that it? Yeah, that one. You know, put it in LaRonn. You know, we never did that here in this marketplace. And again, I think it was one of those unwritten rules. You know, there's this thing about Detroit that's more of an internal family than what Atlantic, Can't Pierce, or Def Jam or anything like that. So when you said that, you know, if that's the theme, you know, we were always told that black men don't get along. We backbiting, all those kind of things. I think for all us being here today, even with LaRonn being where he is, 1,000 or 2,000 miles away, when a black man called, we came.
Come on now.
And that's where we at. So I don't want to get to preaching.
No, we need that.
And don't think we do this for everybody.
Oh, God, I know.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. One thing I recognize, and LaRonn and I have had these discussions all the time, and I know you and I have. Relationships are everything, man. And maybe that's a good start to this industry to this conversation because, you know, you guys have represented some of the, you know, well-known acts, whether it's Jay, T.I., you know, Aaliyah, you know, you guys have had them all, but your name is what you're putting behind everything, right? So it's the relationship. So you're right. I don't take this situation lightly, and I knew what the phone call was going to entail. You know what I mean? But please speak to that at this level that you guys are on right now. How important has that been to be able to represent yourself in a way that people always respect you, and they want to make that call with you?
Well, me personally, I think it's one of those situations where you're guilty by association.
Okay.
So, you know, by me having to run with cats like, you know, LaRonn, and then, you know, my brother LaRonn, and then Lamonte, you know,
Lamonte.
that just made me, you know, that made me, because I'm born and raised here.
That's
but,
right.
I mean, I guess the route I came in was kind of abrupt, where I came in and caused some trouble. So, but it was his fault. Once again, It was his fault.
Can we go back in the history books? I don't want to take off these podcasts. No. So, LaRonn, you back me up on this. So a lot of
LaRonn, he wasn't there when you came and ran up on me at the store.
But that's what I'm saying. When he says that, I think it's important that we also talk about that story. So over, there was once a mall called Northland Mall, right? Mm-hmm. And right across the street there was a brick and mortar store called Blockbuster Music, and at the time, I don't think we understood what it was, but it was actually revolutionary because you can go in and you can listen to the music. If you didn't want to buy it, then you could, whatever. And what I do remember distinctly about that store is understanding at one time, weren't the annual sales like over $2 or $3 million?
Well, I mean, now that you mention it.
See, I wasn't going to get into that, but go ahead.
And you can go into it, but you also just have to understand you had an African-American male running a business that generated that kind of revenue and what that really, really meant. At the time, now we were a little younger, so we were probably more into a lot of the pomp and circumstance of it all, but not understanding probably the real true business that was there. Yeah. But now that I look back at it, when I understood when an artist came to town, they had to go see them. You had to go see them. Because those was the big dogs. Yeah. Now you still had other retailers at the time that were important, but you want to get it popping, you got to go.
Go see it.
So understand that he was the captain of that ship. You know what I mean? Of that aircraft. You know what I'm saying? So
and I had Musicland right across the street, which was
really
a big dog at the time. So
I remember Musicland.
Yeah. So they was running things over there.
Yeah. So maybe that's it then. What was the start for you then? How did you get into this industry? Graduate at Tennessee State University, right? Living down in Nashville, but Detroit was always been home.
Absolutely. Right? So what happened with me is that I was working for a hotel called the High Regency, right? I was the guy that was taking the food up to the room, right? I worked the room service. So every month there was this one guy who would come to the hotel, right? He would always tip me. He was a cool dude. He wasn't no funny business. He wasn't trying to whatever. But one day I just asked him, like, yo, what do you do? And he said, I work for a company called Uptown Records. I'm like, oh, okay, that's what's up. And at the time, I think it was like my junior year, and I'm trying to figure it out like everybody else. I said, and he came one month, and I said, yo, so how does it work? Do I put in a resume? What do I do? How does that work? He said, give me your address. And he sent me this big old box of records. He said, I need you to get in your little car. I need you to go here, 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 and here, and give everybody the record and tell me what they said. And the record was Forever My Lady by Jodeci. And the guy's name was Jeff Thomas. You know Jeff. Yeah. Did you know Jeff, LaRonn?
Name sound familiar.
Yeah. But that's, he old school. And once that started to take off a little bit, and he's okay, cool. And then he sent me like a check for like $500. And I damn near lost my mind. I didn't know you could pay for this?
Right.
And then he said, okay, he sent me, it was a Who's the Man soundtrack. Right? If you remember that.
Yes, I do.
Party and Bullshit.
Yeah.
He said, I need you to go to Atlanta and go to all these different places and give them the record. So this is when Freaknik was popping. I was like, he got me a hotel room like at the Red Roof Inn or something janky. But I was like 20 something. So I was like, this how this go? Right. And then after that, I ended up meeting Johnny Walker at Def Jam. And we had just got to talking for whatever reason, and she did the same thing. She sent me a bunch of records at the time. I think it was LL Cool J. Remember Cookies in a Plastic Bag? Yeah. Same thing. So then it just started to kind of go I was the guy that was doing a lot of stuff in Memphis and Nashville, and then sometimes go to Atlanta and Chattanooga and all of that, which I actually was doing the regionals work for like $500 a month, but it's fine at the time because I didn't know what was what. But again, it just kept rolling after that. And then when I came home, that's when the evolution of what the street team thing was about.
Okay.
We started getting money. You know what I mean? So I think, same thing with LaRonn and the trajectory that I saw, how and I don't want to tell his story, but it was kind of similar because he took this one opportunity and he created it to some whole other shit.
Come on, man.
So that's why I'm a super fan of LaRonn. You know what I'm saying? Because so when he tells his story, because I sat and watched him, And I was like, golly. And even like now, and I keep saying this to LaRonn, or about LaRonn behind his back, is they want LaRonn to be the king, but I don't know if LaRonn want to be the king.
Well,
did he freeze? Or he's just looking at me crazy.
No.
He been trying to fight it for a long time.
No, they want him to be the king.
Oh, y'all hold up.
I'm sorry.
We ain't there yet. But he is throwing you the ball, LaRonn. So let's go there, man.
Go ahead.
Our first thing, I want to make sure our listeners or our viewers see, I don't want to just let this roll over nobody here. Mm-hmm. You said first record you started moving was Forever My Lady, Jodeci. Uh-huh. That's history, brother. Mm-hmm.
Y'all keep telling me that.
Come on now. We can't just bypass that right there. But LaRonn, please, what was your start, man? Now, granted, I know a little bit about this, but go ahead and let us know, man. What got you into music, man?
Well, it's parts that you don't know. So
good.
I would be remiss to not mention like some of the key players that played an integral role in LaRonn becoming who he is. So like Sean P was my first plug. You know what I mean? So, major respect to Sean P. Fresh out of high school, 97, he was dating one of my aunts, and he had the street team account. I didn't really know much about what he had going on. I just knew he was super plugged, and he was working in the industry that I wanted to work in. So, I made a proposal to him, and I asked him, yo, give me your work, because I need an entry point to build my network. And I don't want no money. I did it for free. I just needed, access. I would take all his records to the clubs, and I would report back to him, give him his reports to give to the label. So unlike Lamont, I didn't get $500, but I got access. So I take the access. I'm forever, grateful for that opportunity because, without that entry point, it opened my eyes up to so many other things. I mean, Hubert, you know me personally. East One and Nottingham, bro, we didn't really have access like that to get into some of these doors that I had the privilege to get into. That led to an opportunity with Mr. Jim Roach at Accessories Boutique. Mm-hmm. Much like Drew at Blockbuster, I started off as a store clerk at the record store while I was in college. Ended up managing a spot, ran the numbers up, started building relationships. Lamont was your neighbor, so we had built a relationship just off of the neighbor vibe. But then the story kind of changed when I needed a favor from Lamont. Now Lamont, he exposed me to a whole nother underworld. You know what I mean? So I gotta mention Sean P. I gotta mention Jim Roach. I gotta mention Barry Bill from Chantoniques. I gotta mention my brother Buster, and I gotta mention Lamont. Like, before anybody, it was those guys. You know what I mean? Lamont would take us to some shady spots.
We'll get there. Hold on now. I don't remember. We're going to get there.
I ain't going to go too deep in the detail, but it exposed us to a underworld that affects the world of music that we work. While working at Accessories Boutique, Larry Olick called. I remember all this stuff like play-by-play. He called trying to sell advertisement to the record store. I flipped that cold call to the record store into an internship call, and he said, I need to talk to Spud. And I'm like, well, I don't know Spud. So I hit Lamont. You remember this, Lamont?
Yeah.
I say, Lamont, I need you to put a word in with your guy Spud. I want to intern at the station. Lamont put the word in. I mean, really sauced it up for me. You know what I'm saying? Spud put the word in with Vicky and Natina, who's over running Def Jam now. And I interviewed with Natina. I interned at Radio 1 for 6 months, and I ended up working there for 7 years. Mm-hmm. And then from that opportunity, a lot of different opportunities presented itself just from that radio opportunity. I linked in with Dennis Archer Jr. We did the candy bar stuff. I was his street team guy for the candy bar. I went from being a street team guy to the door guy to, the managing partner, with candy bar. That ran its course. Then I did Fashion Party Weekend with Rufus. From there, I did Icon with Moby and Baby Ray. And then we did Premium, and then we did Taste the Pizza Bar. And then, I mean, I just jumped like, I don't know, that's from 97 to 2010. But I gotta rewind back to the record portion of it. I wouldn't have had the access that I had on the record side had it not been for Drew. Drew was one of the first people that, believed in me early on. And, he exposed me to his world as well. And he shared, he shared what he had going on with me at a time that he didn't have to. So without any of those guys, there would be no LaRonn. You know what I'm saying? So, kudos to you all. I pay homage to you all, and thank you for pouring into me. And I try to do my best to pour into many people as possible because of the love that y'all gave to me.
We're going to get to that too, man. This is a part of what I've been able to experience as we celebrate 313 Day this weekend, and we've been able to see, and it's been really inspiring for real. But before we get to that, Drew, we got to hear your story too, man. Please break it down for us while you're over at Block.
My story?
Wait, hold on. Before Drew gets started, I left off a big piece with Drew. So, like, outside of, I don't know if we should really talk about this or not. So you tell me, Drew.
I mean, it was out there, so I mean,
Let's just skirt the mountain. We don't really got to go into detail. So a lot of the opportunities that y'all see in Detroit, where artists, getting the look in the industry, coming to Detroit, we made a lot of sacrifices and put our careers and our livelihoods in jeopardy for Detroit to have the access that it has today. And I'll leave it at that.
We're going to go a little deeper, but you know what to say. So you ain't got to give us no details, but we're going to talk about that to me because I think that's very important as we celebrate this day. But please, come on, Drew.
Let's see. Yeah, we'll start with the music. I started at Blockbuster Music. Well, it's actually Sound Warehouse.
Okay.
Before it became Blockbuster Music. It was, but yeah, Blockbuster Video bought Sound Warehouse and it became Blockbuster Music. So there was still Blockbuster Video, but there was Blockbuster Music. So I was working there, started there actually as Christmas help. I ain't gonna get into the reasons why, but started there as Christmas help, and then they saw, me hustling, doing my thing, so they brought me on full time. Maybe give it about 6 months later, they made me a manager, shift manager. Then a few months after that, they opened up the store over in Greenfield that Lamonte was talking about, and they sent me over there to be a manager. Well, actually, as assistant manager, then maybe after a month of the guy that was managing it at the, really I was managing it, but he was there just to, I guess, bring me in. And I did that and became the manager. And like Lamonte said, I'm skipping a whole bunch of stuff, but Lamonte came in, I want to say with Lisa Coleman, and they came in with Montel Jordan. No, was it before Montel? It was before Montel. Yeah, see, you don't even remember. It was before Montel. He used to come in.
Was it Domino?
Was it Domino?
Sweet potato pie?
Come on now.
But keep going.
So we started hanging out, we started doing things. Next thing you know, but all these, I want y'all to keep in mind one thing. All these names that y'all have heard so far from him are going to be mentioned again because they were key players in a lot of this stuff that went down and still are major players in a lot of everything that's going on right now. You heard Dennis Archer Jr., you heard Sean P. Jim Roach. Oh my God, the history behind that guy. Okay. Then not even getting into the stores that we worked, the other record stores besides the store that I had, the Chantoniques and come on,
Accessories Boutique,
Pearl. Tires.
Okay.
So those stores. Oh, I can't Puffer Reds.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
How can we just get Puffer Reds? Right. But those stores, they were like doing their thing. So before I even got to my store, but to make a long story short, I ended up taking it to being the top selling store. At first, it was the #1 urban selling store in the chain. Then we became the top selling store around Christmas. The Christmas sales shot everything up, and I had the #1 store in the whole chain. I want to say in less than a year.
Okay.
And we went from there, and they let me do some things that, you know, I probably shouldn't have been there. Like we had a classical room. I understand why we had a classical room. We were in Royal Oak. So, you know, we had a classical room.
Yeah.
I wanted to change it to a jazz room. They let me change it to a jazz room.
Just because
I remember that.
And it took the sales up even more.
Yes.
Okay.
So that, you know, that I started doing little things. I was, like Lamonte said, I was young back those days. So, you know, we was thinking of different things to do and different, you know, different things of making things happen. So anyway, Tim Spence. Tim Spence used to come into the store and he would bring in posters. He would bring in music, you know, and little swag stuff, you know, T-shirts and different stuff. Come to find out, Tim works for Polygram Records, which was PGD. Polygram Records was the distribution company, big distribution company, before it became Universal. So Tim was working there, and like I said, he used to come in. So, you know, then he bring Bill Walden in, and these guys started taking me to listening events and different things. And like, yo, next thing you know, they're bringing all the artists by the stores. I'm getting anybody from, anybody. Like I said, you mentioned Montel Jordan, Redman and Method Man were there. Adina Howard, Incognito, the jazz group thing. Yeah, anybody. We did an ISCO with Deion Sanders.
Yep, I remember that. Yep.
Deion Sanders.
Deion Sanders.
Yep.
And we were rolling with Hammer.
The only thing was he wanted to sign his music. He didn't want to sign footballs or baseballs or anything. So everybody that pretty much showed up, it was only maybe about 100, 150 people. He got mad, came in, walked out, and walked right back out. It's like, are you kidding me? I was like, you still got fans in line.
Right.
That's a whole other story. Yeah. So anyway, we had a lot of people come by the store. And like I said, these guys were inviting me to different things. Next thing you know, they offered me a job. I say, we want you to come work for us. I said, huh? You want me to give all this up to come work for a corporation? I mean, I was in the corporation, but I was free to do, you know, I'm changing things. I'm making a difference. You know, I'm meeting people. So they asked me to come work for them, and they said, we're going to give you this, that, this, plus 5,000 more than what you're making right now. And your first day on the job will be in Atlantic City, New Jersey. I'm like, what the? Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go.
I told my boss at Blockbuster, I said, I'm done. I won't be coming back. I put in my 2 weeks. I went and worked for them. And sure enough, there was a convention. It used to be called Impact Convention.
Yeah.
And that was my first day on the job.
Yeah.
That convention was anything and everything. Anybody was there. If you was into music, you was making music, you was doing music, you was there. Puffy was there. He was just bringing out Biggie around the time. Biggie, he was just bringing them out. Or he was getting ready to bring them out. He had Toto there. Usher was there.
Baby Usher.
Baby Usher, exactly.
Not the one we looking at right now.
He's coming back.
These are just the people. But I mean, as you walking through the halls, you see, you know, people that you just grew up listening to. Like, yo, wait a minute,
right.
And then next thing you know, you're in these rooms with these people.
That's right.
So during that time, I think each label had to come to us to do their presentations.
Yes.
And Def Jam just stood out to me when they got there. I mean, it was Def Jam. What was I gonna say?
Right.
So I made sure I got to know Kevin Liles, Julie Greenwald. I already knew Johnny Walker. I made sure I got to know I think Mike Kaiser might have been there too.
Yeah, Kaiser's still there.
And there was one more person. Oh, did I say Leon? So I had to make sure I got to. Oh, and Russell was still there too.
Yeah.
So Russell was there.
Yeah.
So was Big West still around? I mean, was he there? Even though he was there.
He was there.
Okay.
He was there. I mean, he was at the event. He took pictures with us and stuff.
Okay.
So I mean, so from that point on, I knew that I had to do something special for Def Jam while I'm at Polygram.
Yeah.
And my boss loved me. He gave me the green. He was like, look, every chance he got, he was putting something in their ear. Yo, this, pay attention to this one. He's doing good things. He's making us, look good.
Yeah.
So he's putting that in their ear, and I'm putting it in their ear, and then I got LaRonn talking to Lisa Coleman.
Yeah.
But everybody's talking. All these pieces are coming together. And what happens is Lisa Coleman decides to go to Arista. So I got a call from Johnny Walker saying,
What's up, Drew?
I got a spot.
Yeah.
you ready to come work for us?
Yeah.
Like, Johnny? It's like, yeah. I was out.
I was out.
Man, it was,
Very
it
similar
was
to
in
that.
1999, and I've been there ever since.
Every
Wow.
Ever since.
So can we just, and again, I know this is your podcast.
Yeah, no, please, come on now.
But I think that's one of the most important things in music, because, and me just looking at this, so in music, just like in any other thing, you have different sides, right? So you have, I don't know if we call it the urban, black, whatever, and then you have all these other things. What Drew has been able to do and doing what he just said, of being at one particular record label since 1999.
It says a lot, huh?
Amen.
Yeah. This ain't just showing up at the plant.
Ooh,
You know, punch in on time.
It's because
you got to
I had-
show them
it's
numbers.
because I had good people around me that
Okay.
that believed in me and fucked with me.
That's what's up.
I mean, this is my brother. I mean, we did crazy things together,
Yeah.
and this is we did crazy things together.
That's what's up.
Like you said, well, no, LaRonn said it. He had you in some janky places.
We gonna get to that.
Wait. I'm sorry. Wait. Hold on. Wait. Do you remember? And I'm kind of embarrassed about this with LaRonn, but me and Drew, we got in a car and we drove to Atlanta.
To Atlanta.
I don't remember what we was going to Atlanta for, but here's what I remember, and this is why Old Dirty Bastard rested, so I still remember it to this day.
Nah, it wasn't ODB. But go ahead.
But it wasn't Old Dirty.
It was Raekwon.
It was Raekwon. So we in some club. I don't know how we get there. We just who all around us, right? I done got pissy drunk. I'm just doing. When I was young, I was doing dumb shit.
Yeah.
And I just remember looking up, and so it was Raekwon.
It was Raekwon.
But was Old Dirty there?
He was there. But it was Raekwon that yeah.
That's why I read. He like, I saw him one time. He's like, I don't remember that shit. I said, I don't know what you're talking about. I said, nah, man, I appreciate that night.
Yeah, he looked out for
Why
you.
was we in Atlanta? Where was we going?
I want to say Freaknik, but it was a lot of I think it was Freaknik, but a lot of the record companies had stuff going on too.
And that's why we went.
We got into the Def Jam stuff, of course, and it was
Okay.
something. But I wasn't with Def Jam yet, so but they looked out for us, and there was a few other labels, but we was
Okay.
Because it was Greedy Greg that we were sitting with, and then all the Woo people was around.
Right, because Greedy Greg was the guy that had Domino. He was like a big crip in LA, but he was cool. I mean, he was.
Yeah.
And I didn't know all that stuff. It's like he was with Greedy, and then he lost a lot of weight.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was. I said, nah, man, he a G like on some other stuff. But anyway, okay, you got the ball back. I'm
Well,
sorry.
thank you. I appreciate you. You know what I mean? Listen, but I want the people to see that, because y'all are really just, you can see on y'all faces,
What?
y'all just threw yourselves back in Atlanta. In the car.
Well, you know what?
Like y'all really can see yourselves doing this. And I think that's what I want to talk about is the experience. You know, getting up to the point that you guys have been able to make it there, understanding your start, and probably some of the highlights of the career. All three. You might would jump in on this one, but you know, being able to work with who we as a culture have, as you said, looked at on TV growing up, listened to their music, been the soundtrack to most of our lives. You talking about Domino and you throwing out name Woo that you guys have had the opportunity not just to be fans of, but have a professional career working with. If y'all can touch into that, you know, what did that feel like and what was that all about, you know?
Well, I have one, but it's one I kind of want to, and I want to be specific because I'm curious with LaRonn, because God bless his soul, but I know he was really good and close friends with Nipsey Hussle, right? And, you know, that was a brother that, you know, just, I didn't know him personally, but just listening to his music, understanding his energy. And I'll just say, like, for me, I just had to come to understand that they're people too. Yeah. I'll never forget just about quick experience of going into Michael Powell's studio. Michael Powell, who gave Anita Baker her start, he used to have an infamous studio in Oak Park. And I walked in one time, and God bless her soul, Aretha Franklin was in there cooking chicken. When I walked in there, and she looked at me, she said, "Baby, you hungry?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." Yes, ma'am. I sat my ass down there, and yo, dog, I had, but then it put it all in perspective. That's Auntie. She's human. She's part of what we are. Is, you know, as our other good friend Special K says all the time in Interscope, we create culture. We
right.
are culture creators. That's just
That's
in
right.
our DNA. That's just what we do. That's
Right.
that's why LaRonn, again, I'm gonna keep throwing this at him, why they want him to be the king.
Yeah.
Because he understands that, and that's what he's been able to execute. Same with Drew and all of the things that they've done. And I think sometimes when we're doing it, we're just doing it, but we don't know.
You don't realize it in the moment.
But
huh?
again, once you understand that we're all human, we all got feelings, we all bleed. I think once you get into that piece of it, and you get past the fandom, and
fandom.
I hate to say this, but I was at ShopRite the other day, and I saw Mav Hoffa in the grocery store. And I was ready to group me out, like, what up, Mav? You know what I'm saying? But I had to fall back. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I mess with dude. You know what I'm saying? But again, not to take the ball, but I'm very curious about that same question punted to LaRonn.
Come on now.
With a special emphasis on somebody that I still love to hear all of his music, man.
Come on now. Well, I'm gonna tell you, passing the ball to him is something I used to do as a kid too, playing basketball in the backyard.
Okay.
He didn't really finish too well then. Let's see how he do.
Oh man.
Let's see. Come on, bring it to us, brother.
Oh man, I got jokes, but you know, we do that on camera. You know, he didn't introduce me with my proper title. It's actually Dad to him.
Here we go, baby.
Oh man, but you know, what was the question again? Because the joke threw me off.
Understanding, you know, I don't know if it's when you knew you had an important position or that you were able to recognize from being a fan to a lot of folks that you've been able to work with professionally, right? Just what that feeling has been like for you and that experience. And, you know, our OG Lamont specifically was asking about you and your relationship with Nipsey.
The relationship with Nipsey, like, you know, he wasn't the Nipsey that he is now when we were in our moment. You know what I mean? Like, we were still building that. And when he made his transition, it morphed into something else. But prior to his transition and when we were working on the campaign for the marathon, we knew it was something special. And he was one of my favorite artists, you know, prior to him signing with the label. So it was actually an honor and a privilege for me because I had met him maybe in 2014 in LA, working on some stuff out in LA. We deal with a lot of the same people, so we had already crossed paths. So it was a full circle moment when we actually got to work together in a colleague capacity, and we connected on a human level. We didn't really connect on a musical level. We connected as humans. We had similar interests as men, and then the music was the last piece to it. And he respected my level of expertise and what I could bring to his campaign to enhance it and expose his product more so he can get to the end goal. Yeah. So while we were in that moment, I can't say that we really knew what it was. We had an idea what we thought it would be, and it turned out to be something bigger than any of us could imagine if we're being honest.
Yeah, that's what's up. What about you, Drew? Your walk, and like you say, once you got to that Def Jam moment, right, and you knew it was no more fandom either. You know, it was just.
Oh, that was instantly.
Okay.
I mean, you just pretty much knew that. I mean, that first week when I told you I was in LA, that's when all the fandom went. After that, I knew that it was business.
Yeah.
From day one. Yeah. I mean, you know, whether you're a fan or not, you can't let that shit show until you know. You just can't let it show. You know, you got a job to do, and you got to make sure that at all times this precious cargo is being taken care of. Yeah. Because we were responsible for driving them around, picking them up from the airport, taking them to the hotel, taking them to record stores, taking them to radio. Well, not taking. Well, yeah, taking them to radio. You know, just different things. So pretty much we were with them from the time we picked them up from the airport to the time they got back on the airplane going back
home. To the next market or whatever.
So there was no time to be a fan to, you know, be like, hey man, I really love it. No, it was business. Yeah. Now, what would end up happening is once they see that you're all about your business, you handle your business and you making sure that they're taken care of, they become the fan.
Yeah.
Man, I fucks with you.
That's what's up.
Yeah, that was definitely my experience for sure.
Yeah, I fucks with you. Jeezy pulled me to the side one time when we was in Chicago. I remember this. we were in Chicago, and we said, yo, I'll let you for a minute. He said, yo, you good? You know, how's the family? Then he straight up looked me in the eye and he said, yo, Drew, I fucks with you.
Yeah.
I said, man, come on, I know that. I got work to do. He said, no.
I need you to understand.
Right.
Look at me.
Yeah.
I fucks with you.
Yeah. That's what's up, man.
I mean, you know, what you gonna say to that?
It got to be a level of appreciation and understanding, the moment, and that your work really stood for something, right?
Exactly.
And if you don't mind me kind of bringing this in, because I think you touched on it a little bit too, was professionally understanding the work, understanding the precious cargo, but still always remaining to be an expert in the field, so to speak, right? Being really in tune to what was moving around here.
You had to know, yeah.
You know what I mean? And maybe if y'all can touch on that and how important that is. So when they coming into town, you know exactly where to go and what to do, you know, precious cargo, right?
With me, once again, both these brothers played a big part in that because, like I said, Lamonte was the one that got me in the clubs, getting to know most of the DJs and you know, the other people that I didn't know because, like I said, I was on the retail side, so I knew all that. I knew all those stores we mentioned earlier, and all those people, and the Angots and all those different stores. I knew all that. So that whole you know, radio thing is a totally different monster. But what happened was, like I said, he got me in first, and then once this brother started doing his thing, we connected on that level. So I made sure I took pretty much anybody I could to his club, and you know, we made sure that it was good, and then we.
It's getting close.
Any credit cards or travel expenses or anything like that?
All right, man. I think the statute of limitations is up on all that.
They just showed us love. You know, they showed us love. So, like, you know, when you see pictures of me and LaRonn together, when we with somebody, you know, like a Jada Kiss, we showed them love. He showed us love back. You know, it's just different people. So, it's just funny. It's funny how it all came full circle. So even though it never left, everybody became an important piece in the cog of making this shit happen. So I can never say it was all me that set this up. No, I knew the right people to fuck with in order to make it happen. LaRonn at the clubs, Lamont going to the clubs, meeting all the DJs, meeting all these extra people. So it just all came hand in hand for me.
You want to touch in on that?
You know, and this is something I guess I also just use a different term, but I think it's kind of the same. Like, and I tell this to even some of the records that I have, and I do my stuff a little differently. I'm not a big powerhouse like these guys, but I say to everybody, my job is to deliver great customer service.
Come on now.
The artist is my customer. So if you're my customer and you have an itinerary, like Drew said, my job is to make sure that you're satisfied when that itinerary is over. And everything runs smoothly. My job is to be the snow plow, to move the snow out the way so you can just walk in and everything is at ease. It's funny because I was just with an artist. Matter of fact, when I went to go see LaRonn maybe about a year ago, I went to Houston. Wait, he live in Houston or Dallas?
It's Houston.
Houston, I get it confused. And an artist actually from Detroit, right? And she actually said to me, she's like, Mom, it seemed like, it's funny, but she said, when I'm with you, she's like, you're like my daddy. Like, you make everything so smooth and easy, and you know what I mean? And I said, no, that's part of the job. You know what I'm saying? She's a new artist, so she didn't know how certain things were supposed to be. She would ask me questions, and I said, remember that piece of paper I gave you? That's called an itinerary. Oh, I did, you know what I mean? So there's also the education process, especially with a lot of the newer artists, you know what I mean? So I think, again, for me, it's just about just delivering good customer service. And once you understand that, then the rest falls into place.
It's interesting that you go there, or that you mentioned that, because I wasn't really about to go in this direction, but I think it's very important. Because I do remember some times, okay? And I remember being an Icon or Premium one night, right? And these two gentlemen were together. Right.
The credit cards was flowing away. You was buying some bottles.
I'm not going to say this guy's name, but again, for people who haven't picked up on it yet, but Ron is one of my childhood friends. You were my neighbor, and I was able to meet Drew through LaRonn, you know, And to see all of you guys be able to work a certain way and keep that level of professionalism is quite inspiring. That's number one. But it takes me to how we used to rag on LaRonn with some of the acts he had to support, right? Because I don't know if most people know this, before LaRonn got started, he was a rapper. Okay?
Oh, really?
LaRonn
I didn't know that.
rapper.
Are you serious?
Yes, LaRonn was Amin Ra. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, I'm talking about at our high school. He shut down the talent show with a band, rapping the whole nine. So he grew up. We grew up listening to, all the great hip hop acts, and we would argue about them. Jay or Big, and I'm again professionally here now. I ain't gonna say one of these acts, but I had to say, man, how the hell you pushing it? So maybe y'all can speak it, because I know him. I knew what he liked, right? I know what's in him internally when it comes down to this hip hop shit, right? So I'm sure all of you have had an experience where you pushing a record where it's like, man, this is some bullshit, right? But you still got to have that customer service that you're talking about, right? So maybe if you can speak to that, any one of y'all, just what that experience is like and how you still push it.
I have never had a Def Jam record that I did not like. Not a one.
See, I don't know how I should take this. I don't know if I should take this. As young folks say,
never had a Def Jam record that I did not like.
I don't know how I'm taking that. Ron, come on. Maybe we get a little bit more transparency with you, good brother.
I mean, that was the politically correct answer. You should run for office. Are you running for mayor? I think you're running for mayor.
You running for mayor, Drew, huh?
Honestly, Huey, music is subjective. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what may not be for me might be for the mainstream, because it's not about, us and what we want or what we like. It's about what the consumer wants. And if the company feels, passionate enough to put a budget behind it, we have to go and find an audience. So you remove your personal opinion out of it. And as Lamonte said, we're in the service business. So we gotta service that client as if it's the best thing smoking, as if we're in love with it, because that's the service that we provide.
Fair enough. I like that.
But the fun part was getting the no's, because you knew, okay, this is one I got to work right here.
Okay.
So you knew when to really put your elbow behind it and make it get it done.
Okay.
Because we knew we could get it done. We know we can get it done.
Okay.
Now, sometimes it may not get to where they want it to be, but we're going to get it done. We're going to make sure that record is heard.
Okay.
So,
and that's one of the exciting parts about it. Turning no's into yeses. That's a big part of our job. You know what I'm saying? We don't get compensated for service and layups. We get compensated. We get compensated for turning no's into yeses and making the impossible possible.
Yeah.
That's what makes it fun.
That's what's up. Listen, man, I appreciate y'all brothers, man. Y'all know how to, answer correctly.
Well, I was gonna say, so let's be clear. Between these two good brothers, at the end of the beginning of the year, they get something called a W-2.
That's right.
I get 1099.
Okay,
so
there's a difference.
Right? And what I'll say is kind of similar to what LaRonn, and I'll be honest with you, I'm dealing with something right now. I have a record that is probably top 30 on the urban adult chart, and it's a dog. It ain't shit. It's not. But we top 30.
Yeah.
And I have no idea even why it's happening. I don't. I just, so it's not about me. It's not about my, you have to understand what the music is. The music is really supposed to be an expression from the artist, right? So who are you to get in the middle of the expression? Right? Now, and I had this conversation with even some programmers. Like, look, dog, I get it. I totally understand it. But, and maybe it don't go this way. And I think what's good for us now in the music business, you have all these other outlets other than radio, but radio is always the cherry and the icing and all that shit.
Always.
But I had to go back and show a couple of them, okay, well, we're going to do this and that, and I'll be back. I'll see you in 6 weeks. You know what I'm saying? But again, who am I? Who is LaRonn? Who thinks that they're the best in the world, especially some of them Radio 1 and Cumulus guys. Who are you to get in the middle of an artist and their expression?
Right.
And again, I know you got to protect your airways, but that's just not our job. Our job, like they both said, is because this also, I learned this too. I was talking to Sam Weaver last week, and me and Sam, we were just talking about back in his KPRS days, and he taught me this. He said, Lamont, my job is to tell you no.
Yeah.
I ain't never supposed to tell you yeah when you come in here. Your job is to tell me why I should say yes. And as long as you understand that, I don't take the shit personal no more. Because again, I'm 1099, they're W-2. Okay? So I ain't got to say all that shit. So when the ones that do call my phone to do X, Y, and Z, and again, I've also learned to be honest. You have to, even with, and I know they do too, they're doing now, but when they're on their calls, they have to be honest with their inner circle of the challenge that they deal with. You know what I'm saying? And then they still go get the information, they go down and again, you gotta fight the fight different ways sometimes. Because again, I tell everybody I'm a super fan of LaRonn, right? But it took me about 4 or 5 months to realize, well, I'm on TikTok, and my favorite TikTok song, I said, God damn it, that's LaRonn. That nigga that snuck us again. It's cool when they do it. Doesn't matter. I said, this motherfucker here. Now again, whether it was him, person, whatever, but it's like this nigga, and I said, I forgot that boy was on Atlantic.
Come on now.
Them niggas don't talk, they just do all the motherfucking work. So again, and now, it depends on how you look at it or whatever, but the artist and the drama, whatever, their job was to expose the record, and goddamn it, that's what they did.
That's what they do.
Now everything else that happened around that, artist-wise and other drama, and because I'm starting to be very anti, and I understand social media is important, but I don't need to know everything about the artist.
Yeah. I know I got to work with a time frame, but it's so much I got to work with and get to here. So let me go to that then, because I think that part is important as well. Ron in Atlantic, you Def Jam. I know you've been, Def Jam and background as well. But if we could touch on the importance of y'all being able to work with one another and being competitors as well within this industry, all being from Detroit, but just understanding that relationships are great, and it's not always just what you're doing with this record. Being able to tie in into having solid relationships and working with one another. If y'all can touch on that, I mean, it'd be good.
Why are you looking at me with that question?
Drew, be out here hating on people.
No, come on.
I mean, LaRonn and I, we used to go on the road together. A lot of, the labels, sometimes some of them click up. Me personally, I was used to just going by myself, but me and my brother decided to hit the road, and we've been hitting the road for how long? We was damn near
long time.
A long time. We was just hitting the road. Yeah. I mean, so it wasn't no, let's not go together because I don't want you to get your record and I don't get my. No. Yeah. We both had jobs to do, and we knew we had to do, doing well. Yeah. So we go into the radio stations, brothers. Right. He go do his thing, I go do my thing. Yeah. It wasn't no, okay, well, damn, who came away with that? Nah. Yeah. It's we going to the next city. Right. Let's see. We've been on the road sometimes for weeks at a time. Just going and hitting radio stations and doing what we got to do. So even a couple of tours we did together. I think the J and when they had
the Blueprint 3 tour.
Remember when we got to Cleveland and we went backstage and it was Jay, LeBron, and
Rich Paul,
all of us,
Mike Kaiser. It was like the who's who, and that was like one of the highlight night of my career because they appreciated the value that we added to their movements, and they didn't treat us like we would just help. You know what I'm saying? Like, Jay offered me a glass of champagne and told me to loosen up. You too uptight. You good. You with us. You're in the room. You know how many people would want to get in the room. You in the room. You know what I'm saying? You good.
Yeah. We was watching it was a fight that night. It was a fight that night too. I think we was watching in the back room or something.
Yeah, it was a lot going on.
But I remember because and usually we're not allowed to bring somebody backstage with us and all that. But the crazy part was I had already worked with Jay, so he knew Jay, and I pretty much came up with LeBron and them because I was working Cleveland at that time, and so I knew all them cats. Yeah. So we walked in, LeBron, LaRonn gave daps, and then Jay looked at me and gave me the head nod. They gave dap and LeBron. So it was but this was it was nothing special. It was what we felt. I shouldn't say owed to us, but we worked hard to be in that kind of that position.
Come on now.
We worked hard to get to that, you know, where we didn't have to answer a billion questions. Why you back here? Who you with? No.
Yeah, I earned the space.
It was it was all love, and like you said, that was a great night. It was an incredible night for us. One of the many highlights of both our careers.
Well, that's what's up, man.
Yeah, that whole tour, man. Like, I don't know everybody else's experience. I can only speak to my experience. Yeah. But they treated me with a level of respect that sticks with me to this day. And if I don't get that level of respect, I'm out.
Yeah.
And that was Jay's camp. Jay's camp was tight. So they were on point like that.
Y'all then kind of took us in the Oh Yeah podcast. We have what is considered to be the journey moment.
This is a journey.
And I think it's very important because in this social media stage, people get highlights of your life, right? And I think this is important where, people swear you just got there. You just, you know what I mean? Like you didn't work this damn hard to be at Def Jam and to be in that room or Atlantic, or your time there, What would you consider to be your moment when you realize, or a highlight, so to speak, that you knew, all the hard work has kind of paid off to get me to this point? And don't listen. I know you go back to Uptown. I know you go back.
He was responsible for bringing Motown to Detroit for a big event that they had at Club Network.
Come on, with Dre and all that. But that wasn't it. But I'll be honest with you. The one thing that happened to me, so my mother goes to a church called Word of Faith Christian Center, right?
We're familiar.
Right? So this was back when they were over in that Palmer Park area. I forgot whatever the street was. I'm not probably the biggest church guy like I should be, but whatever. But the time that I knew that I made it is my mother wanted to take 4 of her friends to Disney World, 4 church ladies. So I said, you know what? Find out how much it costs. I paid for it. Right? And one Sunday I went to church with my mom after they came back. And the way them old ladies made me feel, I damn near started crying.
Just like that. That's what's up.
See, that's what the record business did for me.
Yeah.
Right? So the record, it also showed me a lot of different things. And to talk about the social media piece really quickly, I was in the south of France with my wife and some of them big boys, right? And we were.
He just threw France in there.
No, we did the whole run.
It was on our way to France.
No. we was in the south, right? So we was in the south of France. We over in the boom band bop. We hanging the chef and all that. It was crazy, right? So I said, I was getting ready to get in the pool, and I was getting ready to take a little selfie, right? Not full speedo, but just right. And then I said, nah, I ain't gonna do that. So one of my mans, he was like, yo, what's wrong? I said, yeah, you got to be careful, because actually I had an issue years and years and years ago, and I know I'm going long, but we got short on time. And it stuck with me, and I had to shake this. I'll never forget Joanne. Remember Joanne at Epic? What was Joanne's last name?
Thompson.
I used to have a little fancy car back in the day, you remember, right?
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, Joanne used to say, Lamont, never let certain people see you in that car. Kind of stuck with me. But anyway, so fast forward to south of France, I'm 40-something, and I didn't want to take a photograph because I didn't want to make it seem like I was flexing and trying to show off. Yeah. But I'm going to tell you what my man said. And this is my man that got the house in the Hamptons. He got the shit in Miami. He got the Martha's Vineyard. He got cake, right? Yeah. He said, Lamont, never apologize for whatever it is that you're doing, because you obviously did something right to be here.
Come on now.
Like LaRonn and them said, because they just throw that J shit around like it ain't nothing, right? They throw that Brown around like it ain't shit, right? But listen to them 2 guys that said, oh, we was in the room, and Brian was like, and Rich Paul was like, because that's what I'm a fan of. That's the guy.
I got a super funny Rich Paul story.
That's the guy. Yeah. But you got to understand, again, all of the words that we're really putting together, what we saying, and I still just want to throw this in there too. And after that, I'm done. What I learned living in the Northeast is, see, Detroit, I don't know if it's the chips or the Coney Island or whatever it is, or the DPS. See, we're different than the rest of the country. So there's a certain level of, if you in New York, you from the D and I got time, come on. right? If you over here, we there, I'm on my way.
Yeah.
See, that's some Detroit stuff, and I don't know if we can explain it because other parts of the country, they don't move like that.
Yeah.
So just like you said, if me and Drew go somewhere, he got a record or whatever, Drew, go first.
Yeah.
All right, go first, right? I can bring up the bat. And it's never, you never say, yo, Carolyn, don't do this, or yo, Michael, don't do this because I need my shit in, Drew can wait. No, we don't do that.
Yeah.
And I always say this, and see, LaRonn, what I didn't know is your scenario with Sean P. And this is going back to the street team days. Here was the 3 things that we were known for: me, Sean P, and Mark Hicks.
I was just gonna say we ain't said Mark.
Yeah,
Hicks.
we ain't said Mark Hicks yet, right? But all of the days that we did street team, we never even talked about it. And I always laugh when I tell them this: we never backbit or undercut it or did X, Y, and Z. If somebody calls, says some slick shit to me on the account that Sean had, I said, oh, we don't do that.
Okay.
And I call Sean. Hey, man, your man calling my phone, talking X, Y, and Z. I don't want that shit.
Yeah.
And we would do that back and forth. So there was just so much connectivity. And again, I'm giving energy to that. It's just some Detroit shit. I just don't know. And there is a lot of, at least in the music business for me, that's what I've experienced.
No, I appreciate that. And I'm going to tell you, it's obvious that you've done this before because you've taken me to the route I want to go.
Oh, no, I know how to
You're doing
get
well with this point guard
Oh,
shit
no, I
right
got
now,
you. I got you.
It is the Oh Yeah podcast, and I don't know if you heard the people trying to call in and ask y'all questions right now, but we're going to have to wait. Feel me?
Right.
But I think
wait,
that I was trying to build this,
But before you jump in,
I'm sorry, Ron.
thing, we can't mention street teams and independent reps without shouting out T the Pimp as well. That's the homie.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
I don't want nobody to feel slighted because we all got relationships.
Yes.
T the Pimp, Mark Hicks, and Sean P, and anybody that I may not have mentioned, but those 3 I got personal relationships with.
No doubt,
and they all,
Yes,
you know, and they all did their thing respectively.
Yes,
that's what's up.
And I'm sorry. I know I'm trying to be short on time. Yeah. So I got a T the Pimp story, right? So I'm up at I'm up in the Sony building, right? I'm with Greg Baker, right? With Rodney and all them was still there, right? So Tommy Mottola comes downstairs. So they say, hey, Tommy, we want to introduce you to our guy in Detroit, blah, blah, blah. Because me and Greg had to go somewhere and do something, right? So Tommy Mottola says, hey, how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, so you from Detroit? So he says, do you know T the Pimp? I said, yes, sir, I do know T the Pimp. Oh, okay. And I said to myself, I wanted to tell him, I think we need to get a new name because I don't know if I want Tommy Mottola knowing you as T the Pimp.
Tommy Mottola, yeah.
But he sure did. He said, do you know T the Pimp?
Just like that.
I said, boy, you must got some clout. I didn't know no damn Tommy Mottola. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But you know, you're 100% on that. You're absolutely correct. He
had Wayne State on lock. Got to give him flowers.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's what's up, man. Well, again, I think it's a great transition because my attempt of building this up to of course, honor and respect you guys' journey to getting there. And of course, we could have threw out all the names, you know, that y'all have had the opportunity to work with. But I thought it was important just to acknowledge the walk, right? Mm-hmm. And more importantly, I got a story because again, Ron and I were pups. Mm-hmm. And you was just my neighbor. You didn't, again, owe us nothing. Right. And I remember just graduating from high school. I was happy about my prom suit, okay? And you said, what y'all doing? I got these tickets for an HBO party on what we're at, what is called, Ron, help me out, Blue something that's still there now.
Club Blue,
or it could have been with you and Archie with Chocolate City or whatever. It was 2 floors.
That was Club Access.
Club Access, okay. It was 2 floors of Industry Connects, and I'm fanning out in this boy, you know. And I put on my prom suit, okay. I'm feeling good up in here. You know what I'm saying?
I do not remember this, but
listen,
okay.
It was me, Ron, and shout out to our good brother Aunt Morris, who went to this party. Big Aunt went to this party with us, and we in there. I'm talking about we in the room, right? And
it was the third floor.
It was the 3rd floor?
It was the private room floor.
I think what he's going to is, this was just after the Lakers beat the Indiana Pacers for an NBA championship. And I'm in the room. Huey ain't never been ashamed to shoot his shot. And I'm giving it the 1-2s to this one. Drew, this woman was fine. I got on my prom suit, cuz I know I'm in the room. You feel me? And she giving me a little feedback until old Jalen Rose come walking in. You hear me? Jalen Rose come walking in, and all the attention I was getting just slowly changed. And it let me know, boy, you got some work to do, okay? But I was in the room, and I felt like that was important because what we experienced and what we were able to celebrate 313 Day in this weekend, I had the opportunity to see you working with some new and upcoming folks and being able to kind of give the game away, right? Because of your experiences. I know you and LaRonn had an opportunity to go sit with Russell at Harvard. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it was about giving the game, right? Because a lot of folks feel like, well, I gotta be the rapper or I gotta be this. But there are other opportunities within this industry, right? And maybe if we could speak to that. Y'all and being at the level you guys have made it to, the respect that y'all have in the industry and your willingness to pass it on to the next ones coming down the line. I think the city of Detroit needs to hear that. You know what I mean? Especially with the love that we getting right now within the industry. So if each one of you can kind of touch on that. And again, I know we're working on time, but I feel like we'd be remiss if we didn't bring that up.
Well, none of us got here alone. You know what I'm saying? And we all need each other ultimately. I think all three of us have a great understanding and overstanding of that. So we just paying it forward, man, because there was people that paid it forward to us. So we just returning the favor. Like, and that was the same, just like, yo, I don't want nothing from you. I just want you to do the same in return for the people that coming after you. And like, I know we short on time, but like one of my real career highlights, not like a fan moment, was taking T.I. to the hood and taking Trey Songz to the hood and doing back to school drives. And we did that together, Huey. I don't know if you remember that when we was doing our change movement thing. But, you know, we went on Kirchhoff and Van Dyke in the heart of the hood on the east side. And we did that. And we showed them, you know, what is possible. So, like, those philanthropic type of moments mean the most. And aspiring people that come from disenfranchised communities, showing them what the possibilities are. You don't have to just be an artist. You don't got to just be an athlete. There's a lot of opportunities where you can make a great living and exploit your grit and exploit your gifts by living in your authentic purpose.
That's what's up. Please, go ahead. I was going to say something else, but go ahead. Oh. Come on.
I was sitting here thinking about, and you all can remember, there was a person by the name of Calvin Ventura. Okay, so Calvin Ventura was like this mysterious record person here in the city, and he was old school, little ponytail, but he was one of the ones that, like, when I was coming along, trying to get a meeting or a conversation with Calvin is like almost, he's like this mythical creature, right? Okay. But what I didn't find out till later on, I guess, I hate using the journey part, but in my walk or journey or whatever, is Calvin was doing so many things that was helping me. And certain doors were only open because of Calvin. Because Calvin said, no, that Lamont guy, he out here working. That Lamont guy is and I was trying to understand, how did he even know all of this? But now that I've gotten older, right, I know how he knows. It's kind of similar to how I know. I know more what goes on in Detroit sitting on the couch in New Jersey than probably people who are in Detroit because of the relationships and how certain information is going to get passed along. So I just think about Calvin and what Calvin did for me, right? And again, I only think I've talked to that man 5 times in my whole life. And each time, and I probably should tell this story, but when I was at MCA at 888 West Big B, where I remember I had got some of his mail. It came to the office, right? I don't know why, and I opened it up. And let's just say it was a very large check, right? It was large. I had never seen a check like that in my life. And I called Calvin. I don't know, I still remember his phone number to this day. I don't know why. And I said, Mr. Ventura, I have a piece of mail that's here for you. He said, well, what is it? And I didn't tell him I opened it, but I said, see, you want me to open it? He said, open it up. And I told him what it was. He said, okay, put it in your desk and I'll come get it. He came got like 7 months later. 7 months later. And there was some zeros on that boy, right?
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
commas. But again, and even when he came, he was probably there like 3 minutes. All right, thanks about see you later.
Yeah.
But I found out later that he was doing so much for me in the background. So again, like LaRonn said, that's our job. You know what I'm saying? And not to, as I get ready to do the punt to Drew, because Drew does the same thing and he does it, well, he does know, but he does it. Because there's just one young lady who I'm a super fan of how she moves. And the only way I know her is because of Drew.
Okay.
But she told me one day that she was doing X, Y, and Z beforehand, but I guess I didn't pay attention. I didn't know she was around.
Yeah.
But I think
I know who you're talking about.
Oh, yeah, no, I love her to death.
I know this talent.
Huh?
I know this talent.
No,
You know this talent.
She dope. I like her, man. I like her. She's like a little energizer funny. You know what I'm saying? And she move and shake. And also give her props because, again, she's a mother and a wife. And like, yo, dog, it's a lot trying to do this and have all of that.
Absolutely.
So, you know, that's just my story. I'm sticking to it.
Okay.
I mean, they pretty much said it. It's the people, you know, that we had around us that did the same thing for us. You know, the Gordon Aldersons, the Kelvin Venturas, the Rudy Greers. You know, those guys that brought me in. But before them, my man Tim Spence, I got a shout out again, and then Bill Walden, Bill Schulte. Them guys saw something in me that got me going on damn near 30 years in this business.
Come on, man.
You know, so where I thought I wanted to be a rapper or play an instrument or, you know, there was something else that God had planned for me. So going from a record store to where I went to just meeting all these different people that took me by the hand and said, look, this is what you do. This is where you move. I mean, look, me and Lamont got in the car and drove to Atlanta.
Come on.
I think we did to New York one time too, didn't we?
Sure did.
Just drove to New York. Yeah. Was that was the Def Jam Christmas party? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, you know, just getting in the car, not knowing we ain't got no tickets, no nothing.
We going though.
And there wasn't no ways of that. We had to use maps and shit.
That's right.
I mean, but we got there. Then once we got there, we were taken care of.
Yeah.
So that in turn, you know, it wasn't no easy road coming up. So I knew that the people that helped me get to where I got to or get to where I am, damn near 30 years, I have to teach those coming up behind me the same thing. And I mean, I don't get on social media. I'm not a big fan, but I probably should because all three of us, well, LaRonn does. Yeah. But, you know, maybe we should say a little bit more or teach a little bit more. But, I mean, people know where I'm at if you need me. And I ain't never shied away. If somebody called me up, yo, you know, can you tell me, you know, I'm here to help. Yeah. And it's always been about the city for me. It's always got, you know, I got shit tatted on my arm. Yeah. It's always been about the D for me. When LaRonn and I got together, we said, look, we got to do something for Detroit. Come on. And I mean, we did it. We did it. We probably still should be doing it, but we ain't doing it. But we did it. Right. And I mean, it felt good. Yeah. It felt good. And you know, just knowing that we can move on and take the next person with us and then teach, you know, another person that's going to teach another person that's going to teach. Like he mentioned Chantel. She's a beast. Yes. Yeah, I mean, I taught her to be that way. She not that she was wrong, but you know, she needed, you know, that guidance. I didn't give her no easy road. Yeah. I never gave anybody an easy road. Come on. Because in order to get to where you're going, you got to know what you got coming to you. Yeah. You got to know the pitfalls not to fall into. I get you. The rivers that's too deep. Yeah. You know, so if I'm here to tell you, yo, I've seen this scenario before. Don't do it. Yeah. That's what's up. And it helps you. Yeah. I've done my job. Yeah. And I'm sure there's been some folks who didn't listen. You know what I mean? I've seen a lot of come and I've seen a lot of go. That's what's up. It's funny now because now you can tell, you can look in their eyes, you can hear their voice, whether they're gonna be yo, this one might be a little but at the same time, you still got to be able to say, you keep that professional jacket on. Yo, you know what? This is what you should be doing. This is how you should move. This is how you should greet the radio person. This is, you know, how you teach them. You're just grooming a little bit. Yeah. So whether they want to listen or not, exactly. Whether they want to listen or not, that's a whole other story. So hopefully they listen and pay attention. And I've seen a lot of them that have done it. So and you know, that's what's up. Well, I will say this. Number one, thank you to all three of you guys. You know,
for that, and you know, y'all being rooted, and I think Lamont kind of touched on it as well. Ain't no place like Detroit, man. You know what I mean? You know, there's places
You got
around.
some cigars for us?
Come on, you know we love the cigars. That's a whole nother story. He the one introduced me to smoking cigars, but you know, there's places I've been around the world where you can say it's similar to Detroit, but it ain't Detroit.
It ain't Detroit.
And it breeds a certain individual.
Yeah.
And you hear stories all the time where people all around the world say, you could tell you from Detroit. You know, you could tell you from Detroit because of your grind, your work ethic, your, you know, to a certain extent, them bootstrap stories, right?
Yeah.
But maybe, you know, and we could kind of get ready to close this out here, but speaking to what you seeing in the music industry now from Detroit and how people from all over want a piece of it, because it wasn't always like that, right? Yeah. And I think y'all had to walk through that process, and as they said, blood, sweat, tears, and sacrifices with trying to put the city on to kind of see the fruits of that labor, so to speak. You know what I mean? Because you got we can Iceware Vezos, the Cash Dolls, the Big Seans, you know, Babyface Ray. I know a little bit about a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Cino. You know what I mean? These are all
my guy.
Come on now. Right, you know what I mean? But to see, you know, us kind of getting that look now.
To see what kind of businessmen they are now. Like Cino's serious businessman.
Cino, no, we gonna have him on the podcast too. We can talk about it. Yeah,
hey,
come on.
Hey, let's just run down the list, man. Shout out to Penny Brother Giovanni. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Cino. Shout out to Peasy, Babyface Ray. I know some younger ones that I'm not familiar with, but you know, those four, Iceware Vezo, man, it's amazing to see what him and Chanel are doing, you know, with him getting in the film and the acting now. Like, I'm so proud of everybody. Chanel, you know, what she doing with Angela Yee. And I got some personal people I got to shout out that I just can't conclude without doing this. My man Wood and Bossum, my brother.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They exposed me to a whole nother world that opened me up to something else. And like I said, none of us got here alone, but I know for me, everybody that I mentioned played a very pivotal role in exposing me to something that I didn't have exposure to, that challenged me to become what I'm becoming. I'm still not what I'm going to become.
Yeah, that's what's up.
We not shouting out because I don't have any shout outs.
That's what we're doing.
And I know I'm gonna pick it back a little bit off LaRonn, but just add a few more on the list because and again, everybody knows I'm a Chanel fan, but there's a class up under them that I see, like you said, you know, with Babyface Ray, Little Kid, Baby Money, Skilla, Tay B, a lot of these dudes, and I'll tell them all, like, yo, like your music. I don't get it. I don't understand it. But what I'm here for is to support you and what it is that you're doing. Yeah. I say, hey, your music might not be for me. You feel what I'm saying? I still got Biggie on my shit. You know what I mean? But you're from Detroit, and I'm understanding when I walk in a room and I see 3,000 other little kids screaming and hollering and even just having a conversation the other day about this kid, Baby Tron. Yeah. I ain't know nothing about no Baby Tron.
My son is on this.
Baby Tron, heavy. And not just in the D. You feel what I'm saying? So just seeing what Lando and them is doing and how all that stuff is shaking. So again, like I said before, for me, it's about we're here to give good customer service to those young people, and even some of the older, well, some makes it to be older, but and help them along in their path. You know what I'm saying? Because you also get to a point in life where you understand that everything ain't always about cheese, right? Because we would probably all like to have more, but once you get to a certain level and being around those that really have it, you understand that's not it. Yeah. If it come, it come. Now you got to make good living and you want to be okay. Yeah. But I also try to explain, like I said on the stage the other day, you know, just something simplistic is, you know, and the ones that are out here doing well, could you file your taxes, please?
Come on now.
Can you just give them people a little bit of money? You know what I mean? Like you can't go to YouTube and take a check for $40,000 and $50,000 and not get out there. There's no money.
When you said that the other day, you saw.
They was like, why he say that? Because some of our good friends, we all know. I mean, as even I have my own little issues, but I'll never forget what a tax attorney he told me. And I said this to everybody, and hopefully this helps somebody. It is not illegal to owe. It is illegal to not file.
Come on now.
You can go to jail for not filing. They can't put you in jail if you're talking to the people.
That's
if
right.
you give them a little bit of money and X, Y, and Z.
It's a difference.
It's a difference.
Yeah.
So I think those are just some of the basic things that we have to teach. Because again, what no handbook for this?
Yeah.
Like LaRonn said, Drew said, none.
Yeah.
We're just trying to figure this shit out. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So I think again for that, that's part of our, and I'm gonna throw them in the bus with me, of our responsibility of where we are now.
Come on.
You know what I mean? Because people look up to LaRonn. Like, LaRonn, what do I do? They look up to Drew.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And if another motherfucker called me Drew like they did the other day, and it's fine. I don't even get mad no more.
I was just saying they was doing that from the beginning.
Like, oh, that's Drew from Def Jam. No, it's not.
That's not you.
I don't care. But once you get to me, it's like, oh, but
I don't know if I should take that as a compliment.
I didn't really know. You know what I'm saying? But again, that's part of our responsibility.
Well, I appreciate that, and I feel like that I don't know a better way to close this out, but to say just that, A1, thank you that y'all have been in the position to be in those rooms, to not just speak for music globally, but for Detroit, right? And to explain to those in those rooms that everybody can't get in how important this market was, and how we're able to see the reflection of that now, But if somebody wanted to tap in to y'all, I know you said everybody don't got that number with you, because I will say this, and I'm thankful for, I had a lot of notes. I done a lot of research on all three of y'all, and respectfully, even knowing y'all two personally on a different level as well. But I'm glad this went a different direction, because just saying the Jay-Z's and Marys and T.I.'s and Nipsey's, I think just kind of, throws it off as just trying to sell something. Mm-hmm. The way it was brought up in conversation, and y'all just talking about y'all lives. Mm-hmm. It's just what happened. I think that means so much more than kind of advertising it in that way. But if y'all could go ahead, because everybody's phones and buzzing, but just if people want to tap into you, how can they follow you? What's next for Drew and Def Jam, Ron, Atlantic, or some of your other ventures, BWP, and I remember Big Willie. Come on now, and the Letterman. So just any of those things that if you can and willing to shout out where people know how to tap in with you, we would appreciate that.
You can hit me. I think it's a DRUDADA everything. I believe.
Okay.
I could.
Drew Dada.
So I think that's everything. And then what's next for me? Next year.
Yeah.
Def Jam will be celebrating 40 years. I'll be celebrating 30. Let that sink in.
30 years with Def Jam.
I'm just throwing numbers out, But I mean, as far as we got, the people that's in control right now is running things. I mean, we got some shit coming. I mean, we got a lot in the barrel right now.
Yeah.
But we got some things coming that's gonna blow a lot of people's minds. That's gonna move us back into that top 3 spot. We're coming for you, Atlantic.
Okay, coming for you, Atlantic.
We're coming for you. They say never wake the sleeping giant, but we done woke up now. We coming, baby.
I like that. Please make sure you come back to the OYEA podcast and we can talk about it.
For sure.
Go ahead, Ron.
Draymond Green said it best. The Golden State invitation is open until further notice. You feel me? Now, I got to mention my little brother, man, because he kind of got the keys to the city. Well, one of the people that got the keys to the city, DJ BJ, man. He played a very important role in Detroit. Having the position that it has, will breaking some of the newer generation acts, and it was people that came before us that we didn't mention. So I don't want nobody to feel disrespected. Shout out to all of y'all. Shout out to Roll. All my guys that's doing great business that come from my tree. I'm just going to speak from the people that come from the tree that we built. JD, Thomas, Rose at 218, and Burn Rubber, and DJ BJ and Lieutenant Dre with the Piece of Cat Max. Who am I forgetting? Thomas, JD at Empire. We got some good fruit that came from this tree. AC, AC, where is she at now? She just left Radio 1.
She had the blog.
It's one of the big ones. It's a big one.
Yeah. Shade Room. She's the head. She's the head of content at Shade Room.
Yeah. AC at Shade Room, Pageon doing the acting thing. You can catch her on BT. Like we had some some good fruit that came from our tree. And if you want to get in touch with me, you can find me at IG at I am LaRonn Harris. On Twitter, LaRonn Harris, Facebook, LaRonn Harris. But, you know, musically, if you're really trying to make something pop in the city, get at Dr. Darius, get at BJ. You know, those guys got the keys. You know what I mean? Trying to talk to a Lamont or Drew or, you know, even a LaRonn, at this point, it's not going to help you because we don't have the time to really push you in the right direction. You need to talk to people that you got access to that's right there that can help you build the profile to where, you know, we can make a phone call and say, yo, y'all need to look into that. Yeah. You know, we did our part and we continue to do our part, but we fighting a different fight at this point of our careers and this point of our lives.
Yes,
That's what's up. Appreciate that level of transparency too. My son, I'm so proud of you, boy.
I was just going to say the same thing, man. I mean, to see from where he came from to where he is now, that just feels good.
Don't it feel good to see him, man? Go ahead.
I mean, like he just, and all the people he named, to see what they were at teenagers. BJ was what, 17, 18? Pagiana was 16. All of these were kids. Yeah. And to see where they're at now, what they're doing, and what. Oh my God, man, this is a beautiful thing.
You know what, LaRonn, and I'm sitting up here like, man, he's right, because even the panel the other day that I did over there at for the weekend thing, you know, how BJ, he was a moderator, and just, and I posted about this, you know, I appreciate him being able to keep the train on the track. Yeah. You can just tell because we were given a set of questions. That ain't what he did. He knew how to steer the car in the right direction. And you can just tell the poise that young man has, the experience that he has, and just how he does and says certain shit and how they move. And you're right. I'm sitting there thinking about all of those guys of how they've kind of, you know, come along
navigated through this.
Yeah. So I think, again, for me, is, you know, I'm simple. It's bwpmarketing.com. All of our stuff is on there. You can click that or click this, but, you know, just understanding, you know, kind of what we've done and just, you know, one of our PAL kids, because I do try to do a lot of stuff still with some of the PAL kids on the West Side. You know, there's a little saying is that we're not statistics. You know, statistically, we're not supposed to be here. Statistically, LaRonn is not supposed to be an employed father who does this in the community. You know, you, Drew, we're not supposed to be here. We're supposed to be outside selling dope or dead or jail and we're not statistics. So I just kind of want to close it out with that because you all get me in trouble right now.
That's what's up, man. That's why I get it. I will say this. I think
I got one more. Every time I say I got one more, I think about somebody that played a role that don't get the recognition that they deserve. The partnership and the alliance that I formed with Prevail at Collective Studios. They gave us an opportunity to provide Detroit with access and exposure to you know, A-list artists that we didn't have before. So shout out to Prevail, and he got his new club restaurant Privé about to open. Shout out to Bravo. They just opened District 78. They got Society and Debo's. So like I said, some good fruit came from this tree, and they got the keys now, and I couldn't be prouder. It ain't about us.
That's what's up.
Right. Facts.
Well, I just want to say to y'all again, man, just thank you. I think y'all mentioned, you know, one of y'all, you know, this is rare, period, in my opinion, to be able to make that phone call to all three of you and that you guys were willing to just share y'all experiences with us.
Did I mention it was storming outside?
And it was storming, and he drove an hour to come do this sit down. I don't want that to go overlooked. I really appreciate y'all for this, but I really feel like I'm real big on documenting your affairs. Document your affairs. It's important for it to be recognized, the work that you've done and, you know, what you've, as they say, put on for. You know what I mean? And I think it's important that Detroit know that, and that I love that y'all were willing to share on this platform. And it was moments in time that I recognized I'm really just talking to people that I respect and love. And I just had to let them go twice. You know, this brother keeps saying Huey on the Oh Yeah podcast. And this boy Huey on the Oh Yeah podcast. Right. But you got to recognize that this is love.
Right.
These are people that I've known y'all have known me, you know what I mean? So I thank y'all for that. And I don't want that to go overlooked. At any point in time, y'all want to promote anything going on, I hope y'all share that with the Oh Yeah podcast, Super Producer Q. And I got to give another shout out to some other folks who I consider my OGs. And that's Liquor Guy Dwayne sitting here with us, he doing hard work here in the city. Y'all better tap in with him. And that boy Al Wilson over there, one of the legendary promoters of the city of Detroit, and that Crack and Sizzle. And again, thank him for letting us chill here at Cut It Out International. Come get tapered up, man. They crack jokes on me because I ain't letting mine go. You know what I mean? But I'm cool with it. So thank y'all for joining in with us with another episode of the Oh Yeah podcast. Make sure y'all continue to check in with these brothers and follow. I don't care what record they pushing. It's going to be a good one because they say they ain't never had a bad record to push. You know what I mean? Holla at your boy, Mr. Oh Yeah, Detroit's #1 ambassador. Document your affairs, baby. Holla at you on the next one.